Are you interested in recovering better from your workouts, in longevity, and overall health? If you are, stick around. You're going to want to hear these 3 things you should know about collagen. But before we jump in, I will tell you a little story. And the story is from back at the beginning of my health journey when I was working on losing weight after baby number 2. So this was about 2 years old. And at this time, I was having trouble with terrible swelling in my gut. All right. I know a lot of us deal with GI issues. So if you are catching me on the replay or if you're hopping on live and you've had any sort of gut issues, give me some thumbs up. This is a super common issue. And for me, it wasn't just like, hey, I ate a whole pizza and I have a food baby. Okay, it was huge swelling. Like my belly looked like I was 7 months pregnant when it would swell up. And it would swell when I ate certain foods like beans, onions, garlic, and these are all healthy foods, things that I like to include in my diet. And this got so bad, the swelling was so uncomfortable. You can just imagine, or maybe you've experienced all of that pressure inside of your stomach, and it's so uncomfortable, it's painful, and then it's really frustrating. Because at this point, I'm a personal trainer, I studied exercise science in college, and I'm having all of these gut issues, and part of that is also making it really hard to lose the baby weight. And so after my stomach had gotten really swollen, one of these times when I was just so desperate, I was searching for what could I do about this. And what I came across was a bone broth fast. And I was, at this point, I was desperate. I'm like, yes, I'm going to try anything. And so I went right out to a local butcher and got bones that were from pasture-raised animals, and for 4 days I just had bone broth and I had coconut oil, which I had read you could also do. And then at the end of the 4 days, all of the swelling had gone down. It looked like my stomach had just completely deflated. I actually have pictures on my website. I'll put a link in the comments below if you want to read a little bit more about that experience and exactly what I did and see those pictures. But the swelling completely went away, and I haven't had any of those issues since. And one of the key ingredients in the bone broth fast is collagen. So that's why I wanted to talk about it today. It's one of those 3 things we're going to talk about. So those 3 things you should know about collagen. We're going to talk about collagen as it relates to protein support. We're going to talk as it relates to joint and tissue support, and then also gut support. Okay, those are the 3 things. Before we jump into that, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's live broadcast, and that is Great Lakes Gelatin. Totally awesome. They sent me some of their products to test out and to share with you, and they also sent me a discount code so that you can save 20% on your own collagen. And so after listening to all these benefits, you absolutely are going to want to pick some up. I will put that discount code in the comments below. It is GLG Life, and that'll save you 20%, and their products are awesome. So you absolutely want to do that. I'm going to put this a little bit here. Okay. So let's get into number 1. Number 1 is collagen for protein support. So we all know protein is important. It's really important for recovering from your workouts. Now, one thing that you may or may not know is there has been research that shows it's important to have protein available in the bloodstream throughout the day. So when you do take in protein throughout the day and that is available, there's an increase in protein muscle synthesis. So you're going to be synthesizing more muscle, being able to recover. There we go. Sorry, my internet cut out. Okay. So you'll be able to recover from those workouts faster if we have that protein available. And that's one thing that I have found really nice about using the collagen is that the unflavored collagen they sent me, I will actually just throw that in my coffee in the morning. It dissolves in cold or hot water. And so that's a great way to get an extra 11 grams of protein early in the morning. The other one they sent me is this one, which is awesome. It actually has a flavor, and you just mix it into water, and it has B vitamins, it has collagen. Oh, I take that to your room. And so for that one, also another added benefit is those B vitamins, which often endurance athletes are low on those B vitamins. They do get used by metabolism. And so with all of that exercise, sometimes we are deficient in those B vitamins. So that's another benefit there. But that does help you get that protein throughout the day. I like to use that one as a mid-afternoon pick-me-up because of the energy, and then a little bit more protein. Another thing to know about collagen as protein support, and this was really interesting, I found this out during my research, is that collagen is not an inflammatory protein. And that is unlike a lot of the protein powders out there. And regardless of source, pea protein, hemp protein, whey protein, those protein powders, they can actually cause inflammation in the body. And as you know, inflammation is something we absolutely want to control for recovery. We want to control it for longevity. And so we don't want to be adding a lot of inflammatory foods. So if you have a reaction to protein powders where you either get gassy, you get bloated, or you get brain fog, you might be sensitive to those proteins and they're causing that inflammation. So collagen is a good alternative to some of those other protein powders. And so that's something I've really enjoyed too. I'll throw it in with blueberries and spinach and blend it before I go out for a workout or when I get back. So that is number one. That's collagen for protein support. Number two was going to be our collagen for tissue support. So 90% of our connective tissue is comprised of collagen. All right, we're back. Okay, thanks for bearing with me. And so, okay, 90% of our connective tissue. Now, while you let that sink in, I threw this out here on Instagram on Monday, and a whole lot of you, I asked you, hey, what areas bother you with training? And a whole lot of people said hips or knees, okay? And so we're going to talk about collagen for joint support. Now, on Mondays, we are going to talk a little bit more about mobility work to help support those joints and help with those pains. But today I want to focus on some of the supplementation. So, with so much of our connective tissue, so that's our tendons, our ligaments, our fascia, being comprised of collagen, it becomes a really important component in the body. And in about our mid-20s, our ability to regenerate this tissue, it starts to decline. And so it is a good idea for overall joint health and tissue health to consider supplementation. And it was really interesting. There was a study that was done for 24 weeks on athletes and joint pain. And what they found is that collagen supplementation, it actually significantly affected joint pain. It made the amount of time that they could do activity before they experienced pain, it made that amount of time longer. So there's definitely support in using collagen to support joint health. Okay. Now, the other thing that is interesting is that they found that with this one study that supplementing with 3 of the amino acids that is found in collagen, it increased the production of human growth hormone. And human growth hormone, that is huge for recovery, for rebuilding once we've torn things down. So there is good research supporting collagen for that joint health and for that tissue health. Now, anecdotally, I started using the collagen a couple of weeks ago, and just last week I increased my mileage and my training load huge. It warmed up here, and so I wanted to get out on my bike and hit those mountains, hit some miles, and so I really upped the training load really fast, and I usually don't have any problems with my joints, but my knees were really sore from all the climbing and all the load that I piled on last week. And what I noticed though is I have been taking the collagen every day, and this week as I've been getting out and hitting those rides that were bothering me last week, no pain. Everything is feeling really good. So definitely I would say that the collagen does help support that remodeling, supporting the tissue and the joint health there. Now, the final thing that we are talking about today is your gut health. So I did mention this in my story at the beginning, is that collagen does help support gut health. That is a big problem. It's a problem in endurance athletes. It's a problem in the population in general. So let's talk about your intestines. Those those cell walls in your intestines, those cells there, they're comprised of collagen, and they should be forming tight junctions. So these junctions should be nice and tight, and they only let through molecules of the proper size, that they have been already broken down enough that they should be passing through and then absorbed into the bloodstream. Now what can happen is if those tight junctions get damaged, they're going to loosen up, and they're going to let through larger molecules than they should. And so when this happens, they'll let through protein molecules that are too large, and your body your immune system can recognize them as foreign invaders and attack these protein molecules. And so that's going to cause inflammation. For some people, that is the cause of an autoimmune disorder. So it can be a real issue, and lots of things can damage your gut. Some of the things that you might be familiar with that are really common, alcohol consumption and gluten, can both damage those cells. And so it becomes important then that we give those cells the building blocks they need to rebuild, which the collagen does help there with that gut support. And so if you are able to then repair those cells, the cell walls, that's going to be good for your nutrition, right, for your recovery, and for overall longevity. All right, so those are the 3 big things I wanted to make sure that we talked about today. Now, don't forget to grab that discount code from Great Lakes Gelatin. They awesome products that they sent me to test out. Absolutely, I've loved having these in my training. So you're gonna, if you think that you would benefit from any of the things we talked about today, be sure that you save 20%. I am putting that in the comments, that discount code, and you can grab it earlier in the video. And then if you found any of this useful, if you have a friend that this would be useful information, send it to them, tag them in the comments below. If you found any of this useful, share it to your page if it makes sense for people that you engage with. And then I want to tell you, don't forget to come back here next week. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have a live training all about body weight movements and how to see improvements and implement a routine that you can fit into anywhere. If you travel all the time, if you're a busy mom, no matter what your circumstances, it is going to be so much fun. We're going to be here every day next week live. So until then, throw your comments or your questions below. I do check in on these videos. Send me a message if there's anything that you have questions on, because these broadcasts are for you, and I'll catch you next week. Bye.